Hey guys, Magic Man here, and today I've got another game in my Tier 8 Mogami. The reason I'm bringing so many videos of this ship, not only because I just unlocked it, but also because I'm really enjoying playing it. It has been probably, so far, one of my favorite cruisers to play. Just the combination of the incredible stealth. I've got Concealment Expert on this ship now thanks to the new 6.0 patch. It actually put Concealment Expert within reach of my captain. And I've got the concealment down to 9.3 kilometers. It only blooms out to, I think, 13.7 when I fire the guns. I was actually doing some research on the ship, and it turns out that the concealment when you fire the guns on this ship, while on every other ship it's tied to the size of the gun, on exclusively the Mogami, the concealment of the ship when the guns is fired is tied to the hull. So really the most useful hull to use with the Mogami, if you're going to use the 155mm guns, is the stock hull, which does not have good rudder shift or AA, although the upgraded hull AA is not that great anyways. So yeah, and you're missing out on some hit points, but really that's not a big deal because you can stay concealed and also fire. So I think the lack of hit points is made up for by the fact that you can stealth fire in this ship. So if I shoot anything from 13.7 kilometers or further, they are not going to be able to spot me unless there's a ship close enough that I haven't spotted to spot me. So that's another reason I like the Mogami so much. And basically, because there's so many shells, you're almost guaranteed to light a fire if you hit about 10 of them. It's pretty impressive. But anyways, this is a game that I recently had. It's a standard battle. And I wasn't a huge fan of the way the destroyers got distributed, but it is what it is. This is a tier 9 game, I believe. Actually, it's a tier 10 game, because I think there are gearings in this match. Yeah, there's a gearing on the enemy team and a Shimakaze on ours. So technically it's mostly a tier 8 match, but there are some tier 9s and 10s scattered in. Now, there's only 4 of us on this flank, and there appear to be 5 enemy ships, so we are definitely going to have to play defensively. And right now, our North Carolina over there does not look very interested in playing defensively. He is definitely charging out there, even though there was a destroyer just spotted in that particular area. But I'm going to do what I can to provide some fire support for these guys. And I'm just going to pop in and out of being detected here because there's just so many. There's 2 smoke screens in front of me, and it's going to obscure me from the enemy just enough. And this North Carolina has basically aggressively used his damage control, because I set a fire on him on the first salvo, set a fire on him on the second salvo, and I've set a fire on him on the third salvo. Unfortunately, you know, like I said, there are just so many shells. If you land a majority of them, you're going to set a fire, and I've lit a fire on this guy every single salvo. Because at this range, you can't really miss with these guns. So we got a fire on the North Carolina. He had used his damage control. He's going to be burning for a while. That's definitely going to be a good thing. I decided to switch my fire, see if I can get some more fire on these other battleships, get them to use their damage control, because with this Fletcher over here, he's definitely going to be throwing out torpedoes, and because the enemy is charging into us so hard, I will also be throwing out some torpedoes. So if we can get these guys to use their damage control and then hit them with some torpedoes, they're going to take a ton of damage. And I'm actually being targeted right now by an enemy. and I'm assuming I was assuming it was the North Carolina. I'm not sure who it was. It could have been the Iowa, the Tirpitz, but one of the drawbacks of the Mogami is the fact that the turret rotation speed of these guns is so awful on the 155 millimeters. And they didn't used to be that way, but they are now, because Wargaming really is trying to push the 203 millimeter guns onto you when you sell the Mogami. The 203s with the Expert Marksman, which I actually have on this captain, will rotate in 26 seconds, whereas with this particular gun setup, I'm looking at a 46 second turret rotation, I believe is what it was, 180 degrees. So yeah, and it is what it is. And I'm using the stock hole on this ship mainly because of my ability to stealth fire with it. And unfortunately, I missed the torpedoes on that battleship and that cruiser. Unfortunately for me, I'm guessing I spotted a aircraft overhead, and I'm guessing the aircraft spotted the torpedoes. And luckily for me, that Tirpitz does not look very interested in actually shooting me. And this Prince Ergen should be a dead man. He's on such low health. With this build, I'm actually using the HE AP. So I actually am going to be doing quite a bit more damage with my high explosive than normal because of that extra 30% penetration on the HE shells. So you're definitely going to see that, and right now in the game I've already racked up over 60,000 points of damage, and I'm gonna do a heck of a lot more before it's all said and done. So I get 2 fires on that Tirpitz, and right now I'm not afraid of stopping. I know there's a smoke screen in front of me. This guy's gonna have to come straight through me, straight through the smoke screen to even be able to see me. And it looks like he's probably going to eat some Fletcher torpedoes, which is going to really hurt. And he actually puts the fire out. I guess he was holding his damage control, unfortunately, but that's okay, because I'm going to be able to kill him with just my HE shells. And we get another fire, and I'm just watching the Fletcher shells come in to try and kind of figure out where this guy's at. I felt like that was a pretty good shot. I don't know if he turned back in or if he was still selling kind of at an angle, but yeah, he kind of turned a little bit. But now I can see him again, I'm guessing because of my spotter plane, and this is going to be the end of him. The Fletcher is going to get the kill, unfortunately. So at this point, we've dealt with all of the enemies on this flank. And now we're just going to have to push up and see what we can do to them in their base. I'm still not quite sure where the enemy gearing is, but he did just kill our Tashkent on our team. But I felt like that was some pretty good team play with my destroyer there. And I'm not quite sure what this guy was telling me in chat, if he was telling me to move to the cap to keep him safe, or if I should stay over here to try and keep the enemy destroyer away from the cap. I'm not quite sure, but either way, the enemies that were on this flank, the 2 that survived, are actually retreating to their base currently. Now, I'm pretty positive we were going to win this game right now, but I wasn't 100% sure. Mainly because we still have 3 destroyers and 2 battleships, and I have no idea where their 2 destroyers are at. I was just worried about random torpedoes popping up and taking out some of our teammates. Or the other thing was the enemy team grouping up and then coming at us in force was also a possibility that I was not looking forward to, because my team is kind of a little spread out, and that's when the gearing actually pops up. Now, I was very indecisive at this moment. I wasn't sure if I should turn in and chase the gearing, or if I should continue to support this Fletcher. And I ultimately decided to stick with the Fletcher, mainly due to the fact that the two battleships, I felt like he could kill one of them, but the other one was far enough away where he realistically wasn't going to be able to get the other one. Now, I actually asked these guys in chat if they thought they needed any help, but nobody answered me. So, you know, I'm just going to continue to support my destroyers. And this Fletcher, he actually reads the situation well. Now, I don't know if he was using that smoke screen for himself or for me, but either way, he definitely did what needed to happen here and provided some cover for me, because their cruiser, a battleship, and a destroyer are both here. Unfortunately for me, the Shigumo is popping in and out of being spotted, and I'm not going to do a particularly good job of shooting at him, even being this close. I actually land 5 shells there, so that wasn't too bad. Now, I popped my hydro and I put up my scout plane so that I could continue to spot these guys. I didn't know if that Fletcher was going to stay in his smoke, and that was just unfortunate dispersion right there that I didn't kill him. And I'm not quite sure what that was, because all the shells went over his ship. But this should be the kill right here. Now, I don't think this Otago is going to live. Unfortunately, the Iowa kills the Fletcher. But with my scout plane being up, I should be okay to be able to keep this guy spotted. But this Iowa is going to get close enough here before too long that his AA is going to take down my plane. Now, I shoot some torpedoes in a spot that I think he's going to be in, and surprisingly, I don't actually start a fire there, hitting, 15 shells. And this Tago, unfortunately, showed himself, which was not smart. Because with this HEAP, man, you can do so much damage with it, especially to cruisers, because they're not very heavily armored to begin with. And I think I might actually hit one of these torpedoes. This Iowa apparently turned around. And yeah, land a torpedo in his side. We get the flooding. I still haven't got the fire that I want. But I'm going to go ahead and launch another set, because it looks like he's going to continue to sort of sail away from me and a little bit inwards towards the cap. And I really wanted to slow down here and continue to shoot at this guy, but I unfortunately did not read that situation soon enough. So I'm not going to get to shoot at him anymore, unfortunately. But that is quite alright. I'm positive our Benson and the cap is going to be just fine. And this Iowa is going to basically burn down. Surprisingly, the Turpits shot him with some HE all the way from the other side of this island and lit him on fire. I am impressed. But that is quite alright. At least somebody got the kill. And right now, at this point, we basically got this game secured. And I really thought I was going to catch this gearing coming straight at me. But he actually turned out and is heading in the opposite direction of me. So I am not going to get the pleasure of actually killing him. A gearing at this distance, with him actively maneuvering like he is, he's going to be hard to hit. And I didn't lead just enough. Missed it by just that much. So this guy is actually going to die, though, either to the fire or to the incoming salvo. Okay, so moving on to the results here. We did 139,000 damage. Made 200,000 credits, and we got 3,800 experience. We actually landed 197 hits on the enemy and sunk 3 ships. Got 1 torpedo hit on that Iowa. And we finished on the top of the team there with, wow, I can't even read this thing on my screen. With actually 1,900 experience. Ooh, that was rough. I need to apparently opening my video editing window a little bit more. But we got 66,000 of our damage off of that Iowa. Apparently did quite a bit of HE and flooding damage to him. Well, actually all 15,000 of that flooding damage was at Iowa, but majority of our damage was dealt to the enemy battleships, and actually got 71,000 in just raw HE damage, and then another 40,000 in fire damage, but ended up making 93,000 credits off of this game after everything was paid. But anyways, if you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Okay, so moving on to the results.